United States of America, we have a problem, and it is not Houston. So let's get into some of these situations, okay? You're dealing with student loans, and they are at an all-time lowest. They are coming for Americans, and it do not look good. As a matter of fact, it's worse than what we thought. Trump and Harvard are toe-to-toe and at each other's throat. And Michelle Obama and her new podcast. Now, the media has something to say, and also her critics. Let's jump into that. Is it jealousy or is it valued critique? Operation Sindoor. India strikes Pakistan. Can we just all get along? Let's find out what's going on with them, y'all. And for our Educate to Elevate episode, Mayor Eric Adams of New York is a free man. And like Johnny Carson once said, if the glove do not fit, you must acquit. But some senior officials say, I do not think so. The glove fit and we quit. All of that and more coming up right after this. Welcome back to the Creative Leadership Network, where insight meets analysis and conversation spark transformation. I am IBK, and I'm here to educate, to elevate, taking us from situations to solutions. Now, let's get into this student loan thing. It really is a little bit worse than what we thought, guys. In May, and we're no longer on this thing called the COVID and all these situations where people can put everything on hold. They are coming for their money, y'all. But I want you to pay attention, because there are 10 ways that the government can tap into you. Okay? So let's touch on those 10 ways. Because, honey, I am here to tell you. You remember that little thing that we used to play when we were young? How low can you go? You remember that bar? You would put the bar up and you would do this. How low can you go? How low can you go? And then everybody would go low, and they would bend over backwards and go low. And they would go low and go low. Well, guess what? They got 10 ways they can go low. Let's get into it. Wage garnishment. Social Security garnishment. Tax refund offset. Disability benefits offset. Impact on future financial aid. That means we want to go back to school and we got all them loans. That means you can't come get your degree. That's basically what it means until you pay all that off. Damage to your credit report. Collection fees. Collections. That means you go to collections. And not only do it damage your credit report, you also get some fees on top of that. Passport denial. Do you know that if your loans are over $59,000 plus something, that they can actually deny your passport? Legal action, lawsuits in extreme cases, of course, and property liens. You mean that they can touch your property for a student loan? I'm telling you, y'all, that's 10 ways that they can go low. With that being said, that leads us into Trump and Harvard University. Now, according to Truth Social, Trump has announced that he is going to take away Harvard's exempt status. Now, why was he doing that? Let's get into it. Trump issued out a bunch of initiatives, right? And he wanted the colleges to participate in what he's trying to do with the DEI thing, and also with some other initiatives when it comes to colleges and what he considers unfair advantages or disadvantages, correct? So Harvard disagreed, and Harvard said, you are infringing on us. We are a college institution, and you're taking your power out of place, and you need to stay over there on your side of the road, and you need to stay out from over here, and let us deal with what we do best, and you do what you do best. That's basically what they were saying. I'm just translating it. And so what they are really saying, Harvard says that the Trump administration, over its decision to freeze, he wants to freeze more than $2 billion in funding to the university. $2 billion. That's a lot of money, y'all. They need to give that to us to pay off them student loans. But anyway, this freeze came because Harvard refused to comply with what is called critical reforms. Harvard spoke out and said this: it endangers their ability to carry out educational mission. It also results in financial aid being lost for students, and it involves abandonment of critical medical research programs. Again, it involves abandonment of critical medical research programs. So this is what Harvard is stating, and they stating that Trump is interfering. How he's acting, according to them, he is acting in such a way that he cannot tolerate or he can't stand being debated when it comes to political reforms that people may disagree with. Correct? So that's what's going on with them. Now I want to drop in, because even though Harvard says that that's their debate and that's what they feel, they're not that quite innocent all that time themselves either. So let's jump into some of the things that Harvard, of course, has had concerning their own issues. And maybe Trump and Harvard can get together and they can sit down and they can work these things out. Because what's more important, their debate or the people? Now let's get into it. So Harvard says that's what the Trump administration has, or Trump has, and their problem, that they can't stand that people will stand up against their power and say, no, we disagree. Well, on the other end, this is the situation that historically and also not too long ago, Harvard has had some issues of their own. Discrimination hidden up under what they call meritocracy, or merit, what do they call it? Meritocracy. I'm going to work on that. Affirmative action ruling. Harvard race-conscious admissions policies were criticized for disproportionately limiting the number of black students while claiming to promote diversity. So even though they claiming that Trump is interfering and is causing some problems, they were claiming to promote diversity, but up under this, what they call meritocracy, that's not quite what they were panning out to do. Also, the model minority favoritism. The lawsuit by Students for Fair Admission, which is called SFFA, revealed that while Harvard favored certain minority groups, like Asian Americans, under the guise of academic merit, black applicants still faced hidden disadvantages in personal ratings and stereotypes. Systemic bias. Even with the affirmative action, the admission system used subjective criteria like likability or leadership that often penalized black students based on biased perceptions. Now you guys can go check into that, okay? It's all up there. You're not going to miss it. They got all kind of reports on it. In other words, also legal admissions maintain white privilege, legacy advantage, civil rights complaints, wealth barriers, performative diversity without real equity, and also historical injustices that still echo to this day. So Trump didn't necessarily say that at all, but all of that information is out there. And to give you guys a balance, because I always want you guys to have a balanced input. I don't want you to think one is right or one is wrong. I want you to understand that both sides always has discrepancies. Both sides may also always have valid points. It's up to you guys to research, to understand more if that's a topic that's of interest to you. Now, while they got their battle going on and the student loan thing is coming after everybody, the 10 points on how they can come after you, they don't necessarily do it all the time, but they just letting you know we got power, we can do this if we want to. So you better get them student loans in order. That's basically what they telling us, okay? Now, I want to hit on Michelle Obama, her new podcast. Now, before I get into my opinion on it, I want to tell you what everybody else has been thinking. And I want you guys to listen closely to the details, because I want you to be able to think for yourself and say, do people and what they have to say is a valid reason, or is it just some Kool-Aid with some haterade? Let's start with media critiques, right? So the Times described the podcast as bland and uninteresting, noting that for the first time, the episode on childhood cleaning rituals felt like an extended advertisement for Pine Sol and the show's sponsor. Okay. The Guardian also criticized the podcast for its lack of engaging content and dynamic production. Fox News host Jesse Waters referred to the podcast as a flop, citing that low viewership numbers. And then, of course, Outkick had to step in with their 2 cents. And they said that, according to featuring Seth Rogen, it garnered minimal views with just 3,400 views after 8 hours. Now, I'm guessing that it's referring to when it first started, or one of its episodes that it loaded. And according to public perception now, not just media critiques, but public perception, some critics, now I want you to look at the key words, some critics argue that the podcast content is out of touch and that the average Americans are labeling it as it's a punishment podcast. Now, they didn't quite extend on what they meant by a punishment podcast, but that's what some people had to say. Okay? Now, despite these critiques and critics, the podcast has received positive ratings on platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, indicating that a divide between media commentary and listeners' perception. Now, I want to speak on one particular person in particular. We all know who she is. Maybe, maybe not. The majority of us anyway, who are on YouTube, who know about podcasts, social media, and all these different platforms. And she also used to be a main voice in the media per se. Her name is Miss Megyn Kelly. Y'all know Megyn Kelly, right? Megyn, let's get into it. Kelly expressed her concern over Michelle Obama's remark in her podcast, suggesting that Michelle seemed to harbor resentment toward her husband being in the White House at one point in time. And she says that she's still talking about this stuff and has carried it over to her podcast. Kelly noted that Michelle's comments about their marriage appeared to be constantly negative, referencing past statements where Michelle acknowledged a decade-long rough patch in their relationship. Kelly contrasted with her own marriage and her own experience, stating that she had not experienced any bad years, you guys, in 17 and a half years of her marriage. Number one, do you believe that? Because with a friendship, you don't go 17 years with not having some scuffles, some ruffles, and some tuffles. But anyway, Kelly also discussed rumors about their marriage. Keywords, guys. When I'm talking, I point out the keywords. Suggestions, rumors, because it lets you know that it's not facts. Okay? Now, she pointed out also that Jimmy Carter's funeral and Donald Trump's inauguration, that Michelle Obama did not attend, so there must be some type of tension there. Now, let's get into it, guys. Kelly has a podcast. I'm just giving you my commentary now, right? Megyn Kelly has a podcast. Michelle Obama has came out with a podcast. Some of these people who are mentioned, their media platforms have podcasts. I think it's a little bit of rivalry, guys. Why? Because when Michelle Obama first came out, you know it takes time for your meter to go up. It doesn't go up right away. It takes a little time. When you get on YouTube, you can even be a famous person. Sometimes it takes time depending on how you branded it or how you put the measures in there or what do you call those things, the tags and all that kind of stuff. It takes a little bit of time for things to go up, right? And then it takes a little bit of time for people to come in and say, well, what is this about? Let us get acclimated or acclimated, see if it's something we like. But as you can see, it's starting to grow. So people didn't give it time. People jump and they don't give things time. But I really do think there's a little bit of rivalry there and a little bit of jealousy there, and let me tell you why. You have to also listen to how people speak, their intonations, how they communicate, how they say things, their body language and all of that, right? Just like you're looking at me. So I'm going to give you a little bit of detail. I'm not going to put that up here because I don't want to be striked on my channel because I was playing somebody's stuff and they didn't like what I had to say and they'd be like, she didn't get permission to play our stuff. So I'm just going to tell you, go refer to the video where Megyn Kelly is talking, and she's also talking to other people, and she's really shooting at Michelle Obama and the other people too, and you have to listen to how they talk. I love to give balance. I love to give reference, because when people are referring to your hair and your 3 balls on top of your head and they're saying it real nasty, can you please explain what does that have to do with a podcast critique? A little bit of jealousy there, huh? So what you have to understand is that we've all seen it on social media. When people are starting to come up, we saw it with the DoorDash young lady when she was encouraging the people that, hey, stop spending the rest of your life, 40, 50, 30 years, just sitting up working on jobs and never achieving your dreams. Get out there and start achieving your dreams. These jobs are not dependable as they used to be. How people came for her, how people attacked her. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're up and coming and you have rivals, they want to say nasty things and put it inside of people's heads. They want to tear you down. They want to make it look like they're giving them the critique, but you can see the jealousy. You can see the envy. When you're calling people dull and you're calling them boring, well, of course, when they won the White House, they were definitely not dull and boring. And we all know that Michelle Obama was the woman behind Obama. So we know that those late night conversations staying up, a lot of the things he got because of her. Like they said, behind every good man is a good woman. Now, with that being said, I didn't always agree with their policies now, because you know me, I don't agree with abortions. I don't agree with legalizing certain things. As far as marijuana, same-sex marriage, that's just me. It doesn't have to be you. I'm not going to say nothing negative here. I don't need to. But I can look at things in an objective manner. Are people coming for her because she's really boring, she's really bland, she really has nothing to say, she's really angry, she's carrying it over, right? They say she's carrying it over. The truth is they're carrying it over. The same stuff they had to say then. And I would like to say I have definitely seen IMO, which is I Am Michelle Obama, which is her podcast, and I would have to say it is really beautiful. Why would I say that it's beautiful? Because if you go listen to it, you will get to hear things about the White House that our former president's wives didn't get to share with us, because they were so busy living in this bubble that you had to live a certain kind of way, a certain kind of critique, and you had to keep hush-hush, and you couldn't be yourself. Michelle is a little bit different, so check out her podcast, IMO, and maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I like it. I think it's very good. I think it's good for young audiences. They also were saying that she's discouraging younger people from not wanting to run from the White House. No, what she's doing is she's preparing them, so should one of them do get up in the White House, which we know our system don't work like that. But anyway, should one of them do get up in the White House, they are prepared with knowledge to understand. Don't go in there with these fairy tales. Go in there with strength, valor, and courage, and know what you got to deal with, or know what you have to deal with, and go with wisdom. That's my take on that. What is this called? Sindoor Operation, India and Pakistan. Guys, I got the good on that. And stay with me because this is really good for those of us who are Americans, and sometimes we don't understand why two nations are fighting because number one, we don't do the research, and number two, we got our own problems over here in America and we just don't care. Sometimes we don't care. It's not that we don't care about them, and we don't care about people being harmed or innocent. Of course we care about that. Sometimes we just got so much issues and our own issues, and how you gonna pay your bills, how you gonna put the stuff on the table, how you gonna pay your student loans, all these things coming at you. And Trump versus any other administration, and any other administration versus any other administration, and then all the things going on in our world. Sometimes it's good to take a break and just relieve yourself. Let's find out what's going on in somebody else's world today, okay? And I got the goods. India and Pakistan. And then after that, I'm going to bring in our segment, Educate to Elevate. Do you understand that? Which has to do with Mayor Eric Adams, who is free now, and how some people are viewing that and how that affects us as Americans right after this. I am IBK, the founder and owner of IBK Media Productions, also the creator behind the TCLN project, which is the Creative Leadership Network project. Now, that is a talk show that I use to address social, systemic, and spiritual issues in the United States of America. Now, when I was young, I used to sit back and watch CNN as a young girl. I've been through Reagan, Clinton's, Bush's, Obama's, Trump's, and believe me and you, whether you know it or not, the conversation has been the same. It has been the same in this country. You know what that conversation has been? Our veterans, abortions, our nation, the economy. And you know what I saw? I saw that there is an opportunity for Americans to bring themselves together, to have a voice, to have a place to go so that they can be heard. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we keep going to our government and our government is not really hearing our voices, if we come together, they will be able to hear us. Also, just a place for people to get together, to have community, to go to these communities, to talk to people, and to let them talk. That is what the Creative Leadership Network is all about. It is about taking aspiring leaders, taking aspiring entrepreneurs, but also just taking the community at large and letting everyone have a voice. That is my passion with this project, and I hope that somehow you can help me achieve that. Now, it takes a little bit of finances to be able to have the kind of equipment, have the kind of things where you can get out there and you can really talk to the community and help the community. I would love for you to be a part of that. And any amount will be helpful, because this journey is not just about me. It's not just about a talk show. It's about a movement. And it's about a movement between me, you, and everyone else that supports. You have a blessed day. Thank you. All right, India and Pakistan. Let's get into it. They have been at conflict since 1947. I didn't know that, of course, and maybe you know and maybe you don't know. Depends on how deep you're into international media, correct? So, following the end of the British colonial rule, that's when their battle started. Why is the British always in some, but anyway, I'm through with that. The partition and Kashmir dispute was created mostly, and this is what it was a great divide. India, mostly Hindu, and Pakistan's mostly Muslim. So this started with a religious battle, some religious stuff, as always. But anyway, so you're telling me that you the same folks, but you wanted to split all up because of some religious divide. All right. Y'all should have just been going to God saying, can we all get along? But anyway, princely state of, what is this? Jammu and Kashmir, with Muslim majority population, but a Hindu ruler, which chose to join India. So that's the beginning of it all. So war number one was Kashmir was divided between two nations. Number two, The war over Kashmir ending ceasefire. And war number 3 has been Pakistan soldiers and militants occupied Indian positions and India pushed them back. So that's been a little back and forth beef. They've had 3 wars. And let's get into it a little bit. Terrorism and proxy war. India has accused Pakistan of supporting Islamic militant groups operating in Kashmir, and orchestrating terror attacks, including the 2001 Indian Parliament attack and the 2008 Mumbai attacks. Pakistan said, "You lying. We ain't did all that. We wasn't involved in that. But we did support freedom fighters," according to Pakistan. And nuclear rivalry. Both countries tried out their firepower. So one country said, "Oh, you got all that? We're going to try ours out." And the other country said, "Okay, so you think you got all that, and we're going to try ours out." Yeah, they was testing each other's firearms, okay? Their nuclear power, which raised global concerns, of course, because we Americans say, "Well, some of y'all stay over here, honey, and look, we don't want no smoke. We ain't got nothing to do with that," like they be saying about China and Trump. We don't have nothing to do with that, and we really don't, y'all. So, but it does cause global concerns because y'all trying out y'all nuclear power. And we really don't know what y'all up to because we're not over there. We just going by what we hear over here. You know, that he say, she say, and we just going by the facts that we given, and we don't even know if they facts, but at least we going by according to the real, you know, the people who give us the news. Okay. And water disputes. So Americans are fighting about how many cars they have, how many houses they have, what they don't have, eggs, can't afford eggs, student loans, all this stuff. And y'all fighting about water disputes. Okay. So it's not just us that got issues. Y'all got issues too. But anyway, meanwhile, the disagreement is over Indus Water Treaty. It's an Indus, INDUS Water Treaty, which governs shared rivers between the two. Yeah. Y'all, the water is given to all of us. All of us. We all need water. I don't care what race. I don't care what nationality. I don't care who you are. We all need the water. So please settle that. Settle it, guys. India and Pakistan, settle it. Okay? That's just my commentary. That's my advice. Please don't come after me. God just wants you to settle it, okay? Everybody needs some water. Ideology and natural identity clashes. Pakistan Muslim state versus India secular democracy. Religious and political fights. Oh, y'all ain't no different from us. They got the same thing over here, child, in America. Be fighting. So, the summary is, what is the situation? The situation is all these disputes. War tensions rooted in territorial disputes, religious disputes, historical disputes, mutual distrust. Sounds like everybody else, huh? Often faced by religious, nationalism, and political agendas. We gotta fix that, y'all. We gotta fix that. I don't think that God made us intelligent to sit on this earth and continue to be doing the things that we are doing. We gotta fix that. Now for our Educate to Elevate, taking us from these situations to these solutions, let's get into Eric Adams, New York mayor. Let's get into it, guys. Now, this is the series that I take serious. For real. All of them I take serious, but I take this really serious because we really need to educate ourselves in our political system. We really do, guys. We really do. Eric Adams, Crisis, Critique, and Cost of Leadership. the situation. Eric Adams, New York mayor, has entered into office with bold promises. So when he got into office, he had these bold promises of public safety, economic revival, and equity. But his tenure has been rocked by federal investigations, plummeting approval ratings, and community backlash. Most of that community backlash has came from the citizens of New York, NYC. Now running as an independent for re-election, Adams stands as a complex case study in modern urban leadership. And let's get into this thing, okay? Political leadership. A man once seen as a bold reformer, it now stands as controversy, criticism, and crisis. Elected with the hopes of revitalizing the system. That's what he ran off of. That's what the people were looking for. And unfortunately, they have stoned him and said, that's not what you did. And we don't want you no more. According to some of them, anyway. Adams has faced federal investigation, policy backlash, and a dramatic drop in support. And most of that backlash, again, comes from the people who has elected him, which leads us to examine why do so many Americans think that electing politicians is some kind of game? Because we are good as Americans. We vote people in and then we stone them. It's like a ritual, right? It's like, okay, we've been going through things for so long. We're going to vote somebody in, let them tell us everything that we want to hear, and then about 3-4 months later, we're going to claim they ain't did nothing we wanted them to do, and let's just throw rocks and stones at them like it ain't nothing. We're going to blame everything on them. Even previous things that happened in 1929, we're going to blame that on them too, even though none of us, hardly of us, were ever born in 1929. But whatever, we just want to blame everything on them. It's like this trap in our culture, right? It's like this trap. It's a cycle. Now, is it because we truly don't put the effort and research in before we vote? Is that one reason why? Maybe we don't. Maybe we just expect too much of our so-called saviors. Maybe we just think these people are supposed to just waltz in, one person out of millions and millions of Americans, and they're supposed to take all these policies and just save us. Just save us. Maybe that's another reason why. Or maybe it's just a lack of understanding of policy. Maybe sometimes we don't understand because some things may be obscure, or maybe some things are always deadlocking, and maybe we just don't understand the policies. Maybe they're not being put forth to us. We're just voting off abortions, economics, jobs, this and that, and we don't really understand the actual policies. Maybe that's the reason why. And this may take time for politicians to fix devastating situations. Because if we have these policies and they wasn't working and they have to come in and restructure policy and restructure law, and that's not fully being explained, and we're just thinking, oh, you're going to get us some jobs, oh, you're going to get us this, and oh, you're going to let us abort babies, and oh, you're going to let us smoke weed. And then, you understand what I'm saying? And these policies are not fully being explained, and when things are moving forward and we look down the road and say, wait a minute, we didn't vote for that. Wait a minute, what are y'all doing? It's called transparency. It's called education. Okay, guys. Between the people that we're voting for and between the people who need to know the information, okay? Now, this moment is way bigger than just one man, guys. Just one man. I'm talking to you now, NYC citizens. If you're listening, any of you, it's way bigger than that, right? It's way bigger than that. It's a mirror for us all to reflect and to learn. And here at TCLN, that's what I do. Educate to elevate. We must learn. Right? So let's unpack this thing. Did Mayor Adams truly do his duties as a mayor once elected into office? Who's really being served? Budget cuts? Policing? Policy drifts? Did he live up to his promise? Communities that once rallied behind Adams are now questioning the impact of his policies, especially around education, safety, social services. This reveals a deeper issue. When leadership focus, how do we keep them accountable to the people, not just the politics? So from one place I read that people were praising him, right? They were praising him for the things he came in and he did with education, with the budget. He brought the budget down. He did some shifts in education. He did some really, really great things. And then on the other hand, when he started talking about bringing in budget cuts and policing and policy drifts, that's when people started getting a little bit of icky, right? So there was this double-edged sword. And now that he wants to break from the Democratic Party, we're not going to touch on that. Because remember, when there were some people voting for Trump, y'all guys know how that went. People were saying, on certain sides of the Democratic Party, they were saying, don't go to the family reunion, don't pick up the phone, tell your husband to sleep on the other side of the bed. Like, this stuff get a little crazy, don't it, y'all? It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. Since he's deciding, I want to break away from Democratic Party and I want to go independent. The question is that some people has been questioning, is this because you are caught now and you didn't do what you said you lived up to in some people's point of view? Because again, he's still got some people backing him. Or is this because you can't get your way in the Democratic Party anymore? You know, with the Democrats, because that's mostly who voting for him, of course. You understand? Or is it because maybe you want to go independent because you're able to shift some things and do some things differently and think a little bit differently? It's up to you people to decide. Only you new NYC New Yorkers know who your mayor really is, more than we do. You keep up with them more than we do. So either way, the people have decided that they put him in office and they voted for him for a specific task. And according to some of them, again, he didn't stay and he didn't do what they thought he should have did. And when the scandals came about, you understand that gave them even more reason to say, you weren't no good. You weren't no good. You failed us. You failed us. Now, he has been acquitted of those scandals because that glove didn't fit, according to some officials. And then some of the other officials said, yes, that glove did fit, and we're going to quit because we felt like this is not fair, and you done ordered us to stop this, and you done ordered us to not dig further and to continue out this thing that we wanted to do. And so they quit. Some of those officials quit. I can get into all the technicals and give all the technicals names, but guys, that's up to you to do research. I just want you to be more informed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just more informed. More informed. Because I want us to understand, what role do we play in this? What role do we play? What is our fault in this? You know, why do we keep going through these cycles? Is it really a political game that we play so we can continue to manipulate people, have control over people, deception over people, and keep people distracted? Or do we really want to move forward? Do we really want others to move forward? Is it just some of us and not them, or a few of us and not the rest of them, and we all pretend and we all sing kumbaya? Or do we really want to move forward? So that means we need to bring solutions. Do we want to keep voting and we haven't educated ourselves? That's number one. Do we want to keep stoning presidents that we know can't fix the entire situation that has been going on for decades and decades and even for generations? That's number two. What do we want? What do we want? What do we, the people, want? So let's dive into some of this stuff. Let's dive into some of the solutions, you guys. Because again, I am about taking us from situations, which that is a situation. You vote someone in, they didn't give you what you expect. At least that's what some people claim. You know? And what is the solution, though? What is the solution? Is all politicians really like that? Have we had one or two great politicians along the way? And if we did, what made them so great? You understand what I'm saying? In that time, what made them so great? Were the people ready? Were they prepared? Did they do their research? Did they just get? Was it just a matter of just getting what they wanted, or were they prepared? Did they get the right person at the right time at the right moment? What were the elements? What were the factors? And that's our responsibility. It's not their responsibility. It's their responsibility to do their duty. You know, it's our responsibility to make sure we do our duty. And that's where we come in at, okay? So some of these overall solutions, we need to reclaim our civic power back, our value-based accountability. You understand what I'm saying? So this starts with educating ourselves as citizens, recognizing that we have values. At least we should. We shouldn't be playing a game. Remember, if you keep playing Pac-Man, he gonna eat up your cherries. You may think you smarter than Pac-Man, but those machines were not built for you to win all the time. Just like the lotto. They ain't built for you to win all the time. Because if you win all the time, then they go broke. You understand that? So you keep on playing with Pac-Man, your little cherries and strawberries and what we say back in the day, squawberries, squeak, you gonna get out in that squeak and all your squawberries gonna be eaten up. So you need to learn to stop playing the game and to get serious about this thing called politics, about this thing called business, about this thing called culture and religion. It affects our lives on multiplicity of levels. So either we want to get real and get serious, or either we want to just keep playing the game, honey. TCON is not here to play a game. It's not. Okay? And the solution is going to lie in us educating ourselves. And having some principle, standing on principle. And staying informed beyond headlines. Asking the hard questions to our leaders. Now, is you just going to give me a job? You're just gonna let me have abortions? If I get pregnant, you're gonna let me have my woman rights? I just want to be able to smoke some weed. No, baby. No. We're smarter. We're brighter. Oh, my eggs, honey, my eggs too hot. We eat more than eggs. Our food supply need a whole change. Our seed need a whole change. They have altered our whole food supply. They got us numbed down talking about eggs. But the seed has been removed. Our whole food supply. It's more to life. We shouldn't be eating the chicken eggs no way, even though we be eating them. We shouldn't be. Okay. But anyway, let me stay on course. We also need to understand leadership under pressure. What defines integrity in a public office? Because they go under pressure just like you go under pressure. When you're on your corporate job or whatever the situation may be, whatever you're going through, you have pressure, they have pressure. Okay? Mayor Adams faced federal indictment and intense scrutiny over alleged corruption. Okay? How did he respond? Those are some of the things you should be looking at. What were some of his answers? Were they little okey doke answers or were they real answers? What did he give you? Solution focus. Explore what integrity and resilience look like in the face of leadership. What lessons can emerging leaders learn? Some of you entrepreneurs and leaders that are emerging, these are things that you guys can tap into. What can you learn? And I'm talking about for you guys, not the next generation who's going to carry out the same old junk, but I'm talking about you guys who are innovative, you solution-oriented, you want some real change, you know that it's possible, you know that we're not just living in a world where we live and die and nothing's ever going to change, so just play the game. Changes can happen. They may happen in increments, but they can happen. Power and risk of independent thinking in politics. Situation. Adams is now running as an independent, letting go of the Democratic primary and declining support. Solution focus. Discuss amongst yourselves. Sit down and talk about what does it really mean when someone says, I'm going to leave this party and I'm going to go independent. ask, why are you leaving that party? Is independent the best way to go? And what are you going to bring different, Mayor Adams? You're not going to leave one Democratic Party bringing us the same old stuff. So you must be bringing something different. And what is that different going to be? And did you perform some of the things you said you was going to do at first? And if you did, and just a little corruption got in the way, can we trust you again to get back on track? And even though you've been acquitted, some people agree with you didn't do it. Some people agree with that you did do it. How do you gain the people's trust back again? Because maybe some things you did do and people were proud of. So that means you have the ability to make things happen. Maybe you got a little sidetracked. I don't know. Maybe you didn't. Maybe it was just somebody to throw a monkey wrench at you. Only you know that, and only the people of NYC know that. But it's up to us to critically think and to think about these things. And the solution is really simple. It's simple. We got to stop playing this game. Bondage is real, y'all. Oppression is real, y'all. Deception is real, y'all. And if we want to free ourselves and free our spirits and be better and do better, we can't keep playing the con game. I look at Ibrahim Traore. I look at him and I look at the fight that he has to fight, the battle that he has to fight. Do he really want to fight? No. It should be simple as taking care of the people, building up better resources, simple as some of the ideas that they want to do. But as we all know, there will always be people that don't want that. They just don't. And they will fight against what's good. They will fight against what's right. But he's a prime example of what you should do for your nation and for your people. And America, I am telling you this. I'm talking to America now, and I'm talking to leaders now, just in case a leader come across this. It is okay to be concerned about other nations if that's what the real motive is, and you want everything to be okay. It's not okay to stick your nose in other nations' business when you're not solving problems here. It's just not. We need so much change here. We need so much healing here. Healing mentally, healing spiritually, healing our streets, healing our economics, healing our infrastructure. We need a lot of things here. Traore has already figured that out for his little neck of the woods. That's why he's letting the West and France know, hey, buckle down, buckle down. Y'all need to be able to get it together for you guys. I'm trying to get it together over here. So I would advise America, if you would just sit down and stop trying to worry about manipulating everything and just sit down and learn from this young man and how he thinks. Oh, it's against our democracy. It's against our democracy. What democracy? After all, your flags say republic. What democracy, y'all? If you would just sit down and get the core values, those are core values that we can use for this nation. Building up our food supply, not fake food, building up our food supply. All of us like a little snacks every now and then. That's a little Doritos. But our fruit shouldn't be candy. And our food supply shouldn't be, just things that are not good. We want our snacks when we want our snacks, but we want our goods when we want our goods. Our political playing field. We can't keep playing a con game. We need some real things done. Lay down chess and checkers. Sit down. Have real discussions. Bring Big Mama in. And I don't mean that as a negative term. I promise you, Big Mama can tell you some stuff at the White House that y'all should have been done a long time ago. And I don't mean Big Mama as in an overweight person. I mean your grandmothers and your mothers. I mean your people who hold the wisdom, who hold the insight on simple things. Guys, you get sidetracked on simple things. Simplicity. It don't take, oh, what's the big solutions and the big, go back to the simple path of wisdom, insight, and inspiration. And stop faking it. They got this old saying, we'll keep faking it till we make it. Well, if you keep on faking it till you make it, when you get there, you're gonna be fake. Because that's all you practice was being fake. Gather around the table. Metaphorical. Gather around the table. Start having discussions again. Community. Start building community again. Discussions. Not trying to control people, manipulating people. Real things. That's what's going to heal this nation and make it better. When we stop trying to fake it to make it and say, you know what? We're tired of this stuff. We're tired of the deception. We're tired of the lies. We're tired of the corruption. How do we get some goodness and some wholeness? How do we heal? It starts back at the basics. Acknowledging that we were all put here on this earth. And if we stop trying to manipulate and control everything and get better and do better, then we're going to be better. And some people are seeing it that way for their people. Some stuff is still about control and manipulation, and that needs to be worked out too. But some people are bringing some good ideas. And America, you are a country of great ideas. Don't let this moment pass you by. Trying to put oppression on other countries, manipulation on other countries, but feigning it as the guise of you care, when it's really the resources or the structure that you're after or the manipulation. Let's look at what other nations are doing, other countries are doing. Let's learn, let's grow, and let's get better. I'm IBK with TCON, known as the Creative Leadership Network, where insight meets analysis and conversation spark transformation. I educate to elevate. We go from situations to solutions in the United States of America. You guys have a wonderful and blessed week.